You won't believe what happened in Ukraine. Extensive missile attacks and explosions rocked the nation with air raid sirens blaring. NATO's warning to China: don't arm Russia in Ukraine conflict or face the consequences. US falling behind China in warship production, but one ally offers solution. Breaking news: Russia launches missile attack on Ukraine, causing Europe's largest nuclear power plant to black out. Russia strikes at nuclear power plant? What will it lead to? What NATO recommended China to do? Let's answer on these questions in this video. Ukraine hit with massive missile attack. The New York Times has stated that early on Thursday, Ukraine experienced extensive missile attacks and explosions, with air raid sirens blaring across the nation during the pre-dawn hours, as stated by local authorities. According to the mayor, there were blasts in the northern city of Kharkiv, resulting in power disruptions, and in the southern city of Odessa, where the regional military governor stated that energy infrastructure and residential structures had been struck. Numerous regions throughout the country, including the capital city of Kyiv, were impacted by air raid alarms, with the regional military administration reporting on its Telegram channel that air defense systems were operational. The missile attack on Ukraine is deeply concerning and highlights the ongoing conflict in the region. It is important for the international community to take action to de-escalate the situation and find a peaceful resolution. The impact on civilians and infrastructure is devastating and must be addressed. According to DW News on Thursday, Boris Pistorius, Germany's defense minister, explained how NATO would react if China transferred armaments to Russia during the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. During a summit in Stockholm, Pistorius said that if China were to provide weapons to Russia, NATO would increase its support for Kyiv, as reported by DW News. The meeting in Stockholm also involved Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, who discussed the delivery of armaments to Kyiv. China has denied the accusations that it proposed supplying Russia with weapons. The director of the CIA, William Burns, has stated that the United States is confident that Beijing is contemplating providing lethal equipment to Moscow to aid its invasion of Ukraine. According to CBS, on February 26, William Burns stated that he did not believe a final decision had been made, and there was no proof of actual shipments of lethal equipment. Jake Sullivan, the White House National Security Advisor, told the network that if China were to do so, it would come at real costs. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang hit back at those allegations, telling reporters on Sunday during China's annual parliamentary meeting that Beijing did not create the crisis, it is not a party to the crisis. Qin continued by stating that it has not provided weapons to either side of the conflict. Why on earth are there blame and sanctions on China? This is absolutely unacceptable. There seems to be an invisible hand pushing for the protraction and escalation of the conflict. Ukraine crisis is a tragedy that could have been avoided. As per reports, on February 20th, Wang Wenbin, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, accused the U.S. of shifting blame and spreading disinformation. Wang stated, "It is the United States, not China, that is continually sending weapons to the battlefield." Data released on January 15th by the Germany-based Kiel Institute for the World Economy revealed that the total global aid given to Ukraine throughout the war amounted to €143.6 billion, $152.7 billion. The U.S. has been the most significant contributor to Ukraine in terms of overall financial aid, and it has pledged to provide Kyiv with 31 Abrams tanks made in the United States. Joe Biden has referred to them as the most capable tanks in the world. India to build joint navy with U.S. to counter China. According to reports, the U.S. is lagging behind China in warship production, but its allies are stepping in to assist. Presently, the Chinese Navy has 340 ships, while the U.S. has less than 300. Given the potential for conflict in the South China Sea and the region surrounding Taiwan, both the quality and quantity of ships are critical. To assist, a U.S. ally has offered a helping hand. India and Washington will collaborate to create what is known as a 1,000-ship navy. The Indian Navy chief emphasized that no nation can address today's challenges on its own, and he made the remarks in New Delhi during a visit by two high-ranking officials, Admiral John C. Aquilino, commander of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, and Koji Yamazaki, the Japanese chief of staff for its Ministry of Defense. Their visit comes as Beijing ramps up its efforts to expand its influence in the Indo-Pacific. India currently maintains around 130 ships, and Japan has over 120 ships, and both countries are also increasing their shipbuilding capabilities. Europe's biggest nuclear power plant is currently experiencing a blackout after Russia launched a missile attack in Ukraine overnight. According to Energodom, the nuclear state operator, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, which is under Russian control, lost power last night. This is the sixth time the station has lost power since being taken over by Russia, meaning it is reliant on 18 diesel generators that can only run for 10 days. Russia fired more than 80 missiles, involving 8 drones, prompting Ukraine's military to retaliate. Nuclear plants require constant power to maintain cooling systems and prevent a meltdown. The countdown has begun, Energodom said. Herman Halushchenko, Ukraine's energy minister, has denounced the missile attacks as another barbaric massive attack on the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, with facilities in Kiev, Mykolaiv, Kharkiv, Zaporizhzhia, Odessa, Dnipropetrovsk, and Zhytomyr regions being targeted. According to Maxim Kozitsky, governor of the Lviv region, a residential area was hit by a missile, resulting in the death of 4 individuals. The strike caused 3 buildings to catch fire, and emergency workers are currently searching through the debris for any additional potential casualties. In the Dnipropetrovsk region, 5 people were killed and 2 were injured due to strikes on its energy and industrial infrastructure, according to Governor Serhiy Lysak. Throughout the night, air raid sirens sounded across Ukraine, including in Kiev, where 2 areas in the west of the city experienced explosions. It remains uncertain how many missiles struck their intended targets or were intercepted as defense systems were put into action throughout the country. After 7 hours, the alarm in Kiev was lifted and the air raid siren ceased sounding. The missile attack occurred while Russia continued to advance in the eastern Bakhmut region of Ukraine, where both sides have been engaged in a prolonged battle for the past 6 months that has left the city in ruins.